Let us not imprison ourselves in a state of unconsciousness, of unawareness. Let us rise above all of the conniving whispers of this world that wish to eliminate spiritual clarity, and let us give rise to the sanctuary of the soul. We can open up the doorway to the sanctuary of the soul, but only if we give ourselves permission to be centered. We all want to achieve spiritual clarity. We would all prefer our sense of divine connection to be clear, absolute, comprehensible, and collaborative. In fact, this is the state that is most natural to us. Deep down there is an eternal being, a true self, we could say, transcending time and space. And yet when this being enters a human body, when we are in time and space, we end up having to deal with another side of us, which is temporary. A side of us that can pull down, or rather cover up, the attributes of spiritual clarity, leading to confusion, leading to all sorts of behaviors and tendencies and life stories that point not to centeredness, but to destructiveness, to an energy that does not build, an energy that hides. In order to achieve spiritual clarity, it's crucial to give ourselves permission to find solace in the storm. We have to give ourselves permission to be centered. So, without allowing ourselves to open up the doorway to the sanctuary of the soul, no spiritual clarity is achieved. Now, we could talk about all of the many different practices we could perform that will lead to a centered state. But truly, as long as we give ourselves permission, true permission to be centered, we open ourselves up. We automatically open ourselves up to receive all of the wisdom, all of the fortitude, all of the strength, all of the courage necessary to clean up any messes that arise in our consciousness, that come up within our lives. And when we are not cleaning up the messes in our lives, well, you and I both know what happens. We feel no spiritual clarity, and we do not feel centered. You don't want to live life unconsciously. Nobody wants to live life in a state of unconsciousness, of unawareness, in which the storms of this world and the storms of one's mind and the different disordered ways of being just sweep you off of your golden throne. We each reside on a beautiful golden throne. This is the eternal sanctuary of the soul. And yet, if we're not making decisions that point to a more centered lifestyle, a more centered state, then we are actually doing the whole universe a disservice. The divine needs you just as much as you need the divine. So, as far as I'm concerned, without giving ourselves permission to be centered, without erasing all of the qualities and tendencies in our lives that further spiritual confusion, there is no divine justice or liberation or ascension for any living soul. We can get swept away by the various desires, expectations, and passions that earthly life can inspire. We can get totally lost in a fog of our own creation when we're avoiding the spiritual clarity that can only be achieved through giving ourselves permission to be centered.